What's going on, swim fans? Welcome to World Swim News. My name is Faris Sabeti, co-founder and CEO of MySwimPro, and today we have day number 2 of the U.S. Olympic Trials in Omaha, Nebraska. We're on wave number 2. Wave number 1 completed June 4th or June 7th. Now we have all the superstars in the house, including Lily King, Caleb Dressel, Ryan Murphy, some of the stars we've been waiting to see. Now is their chance to make the Olympic team. So today in this live stream, we're going to go ahead and watch some of the races from the preliminary session. I'm going to overview what happened race by race. We're going to watch the stars, including Caleb Dressel, Lily King, and Katie Ledecky. The races that we just saw in the prelim session was the women's 100-meter backstroke, the men's 200-meter freestyle, the women's 100 breaststroke, the men's 100 backstroke, and we concluded things with the women's 400-meter freestyle. Let's go ahead and kick things off, going over some of the results that we had from the women's 100-meter backstroke. So to kick things off right off the bat, we had Reagan Smith come in with the fastest qualifying time at a 58.3 loaded field. We had a total of 7 swimmers get under 1 minute. We're going to have a Duluth sandwich in there for both sisters, Katie and Allie, dipping under that top 16 qualifying spot. So really exciting to see what happens in the 2 semifinals of the women's 100 backstroke. I do have some race footage of the next event, which was the men's 200 freestyle. This is where we saw Caleb Dressel make his first appearance of the championship. So very exciting to see Caleb Dressel racing. Let's go ahead and see what we can pull up. And I think you guys are not going to be disappointed with that. Let me go ahead and find it. Here we go. Men's 2. Caleb Dressel has entered the building. The world record in this event is a 142.00. Now remember, this is the preliminaries. So you got to swim these events 3 times. You have a prelim in the morning, then you have a semifinal in the evening, and then tomorrow night is the final. So you got to be top 16 after the prelims. Then you're going to be in a position to actually make the final. Top 8 from the semis make the final. And then, of course, you have the final championship where the top 2 represent the United States of America in the event. But then you also have the relay opportunity, which top 6. As you can see, Caleb Dressel took this out like a champ. He looked so smooth in the first 50, 100 meters. The rest of the field did start to come up on him, but he's able to maintain his lead all the way through. And you just look at Caleb Dressel, how silky smooth he looks in lane 6. I mean, that first 50, he was out in a 24.29. It didn't look like he took a hard stroke. Keep in mind, the world record in this event is a blazing 142.00. I don't think we're going to be close to that in this championship, at least. But these swimmers are competing for a spot in that semifinal. You know, it's really difficult for the 200s. You have to swim it 3 times. And as you can see, Caleb Dressel was really smooth this prelim session. It looked like he didn't take a single hard stroke. He's out for a lazy stroll in the park, and someone might have to tap on his shoulder and say, hey, buddy, by the way, this is the Olympic trials. You don't want to go too slow here. So he looked pretty in control all the way through the 150. So his first split, he was 24.2. On the second 50, he was 27.07. On the third 50, he was 27.7. The rest of the field starting to outsplit him. The rest of the field was 27 low. As you can see, his big lead he had the first 100 started to fall off a little bit. But at the end, he was able to maintain his speed. You see the other swimmers there starting to inch up on him. And, you know, all these top 3 guys are going to make it into the semifinal, no problem. Really, you're fighting to get into that top 16. Dressel goes the best time, actually, 146.6. Very, very impressive. And so that's why it's great to see these athletes stepping up and performing. I mean, this is the prelims, so keep in mind, we do want to see these athletes step up and perform when it actually matters, which is the final. But you won't get into the semifinal or the final tonight and tomorrow unless you qualify top 16. So he doesn't look too out of breath because we know that first 100 was very casual. I mean, he was out in a 24.2, and then second 50 was a 27.0. So when you look at the results here, Andrew Seliskar right there with him. I think these top 3 guys are really going to be your best contenders to make it into that final. Tonight is the semifinal, but after all the heats of the men's 200 freestyle, Caleb Dressel is actually the second fastest performer out of the prelims, and he's going to move forward to the final, of course. The top swimmer out of the prelims is actually Kieran Smith. We saw him last night destroy that 400 freestyle, so we know he has the back end speed. Karen Smith leads us with a 146.54. Caleb Dressel right there with him. And I think these top guys, top 8, top 10 swimmers, are going to be the ones fighting for the top 6 spots on the 4x200 freestyle relay. Anything can happen. Any of these guys can move up into the top 8. And then tomorrow, we will see what ends up shaking out. So that concludes the men's 200-meter freestyle. The next event we had was the women's 100 breaststroke. This is where we get to see the queen of breaststroke, Lily King, show up and show us why she's the best breaststroker in the world. And it was really remarkable to see how much speed she had. I'm actually going to go ahead and skip through a few of these heats because there was a lot of fast swimming. We want to get to Lily King, so I'm going to go ahead and just skip through here. In this heat, Annie Laser really stepping up big, dropping some big times. Let's go ahead and just skip to the finish. Look at that. Wow. Very, very fast. Very excited. I'd be excited too if I won a best time in the 100 breaststroke by by half a second or a second or so. But shout out to Annie Laser, local where I'm from in Michigan. Shout out Annie Laser. Let me know in the comments where you guys are joining and watching this from. But next heat, I believe we had Lily King, who is the top qualifier. We should expect that out of her. She is the world record holder in this event. So very, very good. Here we go. Annie Laser was the fastest swimmer. It's not even close. Look at the time spread. 105 to 107. And then 108. I mean, Miranda Tucker, also shout out Michigan swimmer right there as well. But still, think about it. The world record's a 104.13. And these swimmers are swimming about 4 seconds slower than that, except for Annie Laser and Caitlin Dobler. So, there's a big drop-off between the fastest swimmers in this event and then the next round. So here's Lily King coming up next. She is the best breaststroker in the world for the last 5-6 years or so. No surprise, of course. And when we think about the 100 breaststroke, we saw the men's 100 breaststroke yesterday. We saw Michael Andrew break the American record twice. He did it in the morning and he did it in the finals. Remember, it's a prelim, semifinal, and final competition. So you've got to swim the race 3 times. Out of the prelims, times don't really matter. You need to be in the top 16 if you want a chance to swim it again in the semifinal. And then going from the semifinal to the final, you've got to be in the top 8. So right now we're about to watch Lily King in the lane next to her, Molly Hannes, Bethany Galat, and it's going to be pretty special to see the finals of this. I think there's such a significant drop-off between the top swimmers here and, the bottom in the 16. It's really going to come down to a battle between the top few swimmers, and the rest of the field won't really have a chance just because of how much faster Lily King and Annie Laser and some of these other swimmers are. But right away, Lily King, in the beginning of the race, asserting her dominance. Look at the tempo, look at the explosion, the drive of the hands moving into streamline. All the swimmers have a great drive forward into streamline. I mean, any of these swimmers going under 110 in the 100 breaststroke long course, no screwing around. But, on the first 50, she was out in a 30.62. The world record split, which is her own, is a 29.8, which is absolutely ridiculous. So, a lot of swimmers do not have that big of a spread between the first 50 and the second 50. Lily King just attacks. I mean, she just goes for it. There's no reservations. And it looks like here in the prelims, she doesn't need to go all out just because she's so much faster than everyone. She can actually reserve, some of her energy for the following swims. We know we're going to see her in the 200 breaststroke as well. So that's a number of races after this one. And she touches first in a 105.67. But how about Bethany Galat? I mean, that's remarkable to go 105.89. I mean, Lily King's been 105, 104 a number of times, so not that big of a deal for her. But, I mean, check out the girl in the lane next to her. I mean, she's got to be ecstatic to go such a fast time. And let me get rid of myself so you guys. Oh, can you guys hear me? There we go. Sorry if you guys couldn't hear me for a little bit there. But, Lily King is really asserting herself as the best breaststroker in the world. She's been 105 a number of times, and, it's not that big of a deal for her. But Bethany Galat, I mean, 105.89, absolutely stunning. That is a very, very fast swim. So it's pretty sweet to see her do that. And Here we have the final standings of that heat. Lily King comes in first, and she will move on to the semifinal along with the top 16 swimmers from this qualifying round. And here you see heat number 2. This is the top 16, 9 through 16. Any of these swimmers can move into the top 8 and actually qualify for the Olympic team. And then remember, 2 of these swimmers will go on to represent the US of A in the 100 breaststroke and in the medley relay. A lot of people forget about that. In the hundreds of stroke, you have the medley relay. So that concludes the women's 100 breaststroke. Next, we have the men's 100 backstroke. This is a tough, I'm a breaststroker, guys. This is a tough event for me to swim. But the 100 backstroke, we have the superstars, Matt Grievers, Ryan Murphy. Let's go ahead and give a shout out here to Matt Grievers. He swam this event. I'm going to go ahead and just skip through here. Let's get to Matt Grievers. There he is. Matt Grievers is about to join the party. He's a veteran. He stands at 6 feet, 8 inches tall. He's an absolute giant. And let's watch the Matt Grievers, and then we'll watch the final heat with Ryan Murphy. So these are our top qualifiers moving into the top 16, which will be tonight. Remember, it's prelims, semis, and then finals. And then the final event after this is Katie Ledecky in the 400-meter freestyle. And that'll wrap up the preliminary session at day number 2 of Wave 2 at the U.S. Olympic Trials in Omaha, Nebraska. Right now, you got a lot of wash. A lot of these top guys are trying to get their pacing because it's 100. You can't afford to go slow in the 100 or else you're going to be left behind. So all these guys are trying to get into that top 16 semifinal spot. Some of the more experienced advanced swimmers like a Matt Grievers who turns first, they can afford to go a little bit easier either on the first 50 or on the second 50 just because they want to conserve their energy. You don't want to be smoking your wheels all the way at the beginning because that's no good. You got to make sure you're conserved and you can perform on all 3 races. All right, let's go ahead and skip over to the next event. This is Matt Grievers. I'm sorry, the next heat. We don't want to skip over to the next event. So Matt Grievers touches first in this heat. I believe he goes a 53.65. And we really want to see Ryan Murphy, who is the defending gold medalist and world record holder in this event. And we had it in the heat before, and we had Michael Andrew, we had Coleman Stewart. But for the sake of brevity, we're going to have to skip through and get to Ryan Murphy because I want to make sure I can cover everything in this live stream. Let's go ahead and watch Ryan Murphy. He's in lane 4, California Golden Bears. You know, a lot of studs in this heat. I mean, Justin Ress, keep an eye on him. How about Dean Ferris? Maybe I'm a Dean Ferris fan because his last name is my first name. Not very often you see a Ferris in the sport of swimming, so shout out to Dean Ferris. Ferris squared in the house. But, you know, Ryan Murphy is the guy to watch. He sort of had a little bit of an off World Championships. You know, he didn't win everything he was swimming. But at the end of the day, we want to see what he can put together. And let's see what these guys can do in the 100-meter backstroke. Ryan Murphy trying to qualify for another Olympic team. He's been a superstar in backstroke for the last 5 to 10 years. Defending gold medalist in the 100 and 200 backstroke. He broke the world record in this event in the 4x1 medley relay, going a 51.8. You see him in the middle of the pool with the slowest tempo out of everyone. But check out Justin Ress in the lane above him, who is in the lead right now. He's looking really good. A little bit of a bounce in his stroke, a little bit of up and down. But he's able to come in touching first at a 25.35. Just a quarter of a second above the world record pace, which was set by Ryan Murphy. And now you see Ryan Murphy starting to make a push. You can see his tempo, but is it too little, too late? Look at the tempo increase of Ryan Murphy. He's still in second position. Justin Ress is still in the lead. But remember, this is the prelims, and we know that Ryan Murphy was taking it easy on the first half of this race. And into the finish, it is a nail-biter. Very, very close. Justin Ress edges him out in this field with a 53.07. Ryan Murphy and Shane Cassis, they actually have a tie at a 53.08, but all of these guys are easily going to advance to the top 16, primarily because, you know, the top few swimmers are always going to have an easier time advancing because they don't have to go as hard to be able to put up a time that will be in the top 4, 5, 6, 8. Remember, when you go from prelim to semifinal, only the top 16 make it. So if you're already the fastest qualifier coming into the event, you can afford to go, 70, 80, 90% effort, and you can still probably squeeze your way into the final. So here is a look at the final standings. Bryce Medford, he's at a 52.99, and the Olympic defending gold medalist is in third position with a 53.08, and it took a 54.54 to make it into the semifinal, which will be tonight. Now, if you guys are new here, before we get to Katie Ledecky, she is the next event and the last event of day 2 preliminary. So let's go ahead and pull up Katie Ledecky, the distance queen. She is faster than everyone in the world in this event. Here we go. Katie Ledecky, lane 4. If you guys are new here, make sure you subscribe to MySwimPro. Hit the notification bell so you know when these live broadcasts are happening and when we upload new videos. You can also follow MySwimPro on all the different social media channels, including Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. Feel free to give me a follow as well on Instagram or any of the other social media channels. We're going to give you a behind-the-scenes look at what's happening. But this right here is Katie Ledecky in the 400 individual medley, and not 400 individual medley, I'm sorry, 400 freestyle. She could swim the 400 individual medley and she'd probably kill it. But right now we're looking at the 400 free. This is arguably, the 800 and the 1500 are her best events. We'll see her in the 200. The 1500 has been added to this Olympic program, but right away after 40 meters, she's already a body length ahead. I mean, how remarkable is that to be 40 meters, like 10%, right? If it's a 400 distance, to be only 40 meters in, so 10% into the race, and she has a full body length lead. I mean, there's only a handful of people that can do that. One of them is Caleb Dressel. Another one is maybe Adam Peaty in the 100 breaststroke. And then, of course, you have Katie Ledecky. She is head and shoulders and entire body ahead of the field. At the first 50, let's pull up the results. She turned in a 28.1, and the second 50 was a 30.1. So her first 100 was a 58.2. For those of you who are following along and are not as familiar with elite competitive swimming and just how fast a 58 is, I mean, for me as a more advanced swimmer, I have to go almost all out just to hit that kind of a time. As a male, former elite swimmer, right? That's really fast. Most people can't swim a 58-second 100. Most men can't swim a 58-second 100-meter freestyle. And that's what she took out the 400 in. She took it out. And she's going easy. This is like a prelim easy swim. She just needs to make sure she qualifies first, gets a good feel of the water, establishes herself in the pool. And she did that, right? She is getting a little bit of pressure there from Paige Madden down there. Pretty cool to see her and Haley Anderson and Leah Smith from the prior heat step up and go some pretty fast times. But just for you guys to have some contextual awareness, the world record in this event is held by Katie Ledecky, the swimmer in the lead right now. It's a 356.4. Now, the world record split at the 200 was a 157. Woo! So we were a few seconds off of that. But again, this is the preliminary swim. Katie Ledecky does not have to go all out just to make the team. And we're just going to go ahead and cut to the end of this because it's a rather long event. And here we are into the finish. She's got, the cameraman has to zoom out just to fit everything that's happening right now, to be able to fit Katie Ledecky and at least one other swimmer. And she touches the wall with an easy 403.07. Her final 50, she split a 30.6. She was pretty even all the way through, but pretty amazing to see Katie Ledecky step up for the first time at the 2020 Olympic swimming trials. Remember, we have a final session tonight, so make sure if you're not already subscribed to the channel, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and make sure you let us know in the comments what you guys think. We love doing these live streams for you guys, giving you a race-by-race recap of everything that's happening at the U.S. Olympic Trials in Omaha, Nebraska. I will be there in just a few days, and I'll be giving you guys a behind-the-scenes look, so make sure you follow MySwimPro on all the different social media channels. And also feel free to give me a follow on all the channels if you want a behind-the-scenes look from my perspective as the CEO and your commentator of MySwimPro. So thanks again for tuning in to this episode of live broadcasts. I really appreciate you guys spending some time with me, and I can't wait to see you guys With that being said, I wish you the very best.